pause for thought and join in the barking with Darren Rowe on The Mindful Dog.
It's the 6th of December and it's nearly Christmas. So join us now on the Sunday Cafe with Roman Travers on Magic Talk. And this week we're going to be talking about puppy preschools. How do you know you've got a good one? How do you know you've got a bad one? Listen in, find out.
The one thing you should never do at Christmas time is buy someone something they don't want. And that may well be a puppy. Darren Rowe is from Mindfulness for Dogs. G'day, Darren.
Hi, Roman.
Nice and clear, coming in crystal clear from Hamilton. Can you see Seddon Park from where you are?
Yes, we can, sorry.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's such a beautiful cricket ground, isn't it?
And it's beautiful sunshine here as well, not to brag, but...
A good day in store for day 4 of the test. The Black Caps again. Have you been following the cricket?
Little bit. I've been very, very busy at the moment, so I haven't had as much as I like to, but I intend to a little bit more.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, let's talk about puppies and puppy preschool. We've spoken about it before, but it's acutely important, isn't it, to get those foundations right from the start?
It is, yeah. I thought I'd sort of come in at a different angle because as much as you can say to people, don't buy a puppy for Christmas because you haven't got the time, people always do. We've had... we've been running now with 35 puppies. It's crazy, isn't it? Since before Christmas, and I've still got people buying puppies and wanting puppy preschools over Christmas. But the thing is, that doesn't happen, does it? Because people have breaks. So you buy a puppy just before Christmas, and then suddenly you can't find a puppy preschool. And it's really important, yeah. So we really got to be thinking about that. But for those people that have, you may well get the odd person that's doing one. But how do you know what is a good preschool? Because there are many, many different preschools out there. Doing very, very, very different things. And again, in New Zealand and most of the world, there's no real standard for dog training, so there's no real standard for puppy preschools.
That's a bit frightening, isn't it? Look, you might have a question for Darren Rowe. I must urge you and implore you and warmly welcome you to call now on 0800 844 747. Whether you've got a giant schnauzer or a Bichon Frise, whatever it is, your dog could do with some extra help, and so could you, undoubtedly. We can all do better. So, Darren, if I was to come to you, you'd tell me where to go probably in terms of puppy preschools, your local vet as well?
Yeah, so there's a few different places that do puppy preschools. You get the independent dog trainers like myself that will do preschools. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then you get the vets that do the preschools, and also you'll get some of the pet shops, like some of the bigger pet shops in Auckland and Hamilton that do them as well. So you've got a couple of different options. I suppose you've got to be aware about what they're doing in those preschools, because it's not just about your puppy going in there and getting the best foods or getting the best medical attention. It's about that puppy getting that socialisation, and that's really what the preschool should be named. Not puppy preschool, it should be puppy socialisation classes. Yeah.
What tends to happen, let's go completely the other way, when you work with a dog that's never been socialised, what sort of issues are you seeing?
Well, that's my core business, isn't it, I guess, because the dogs aren't socialised. And in an ideal world, I would never have any clients because their dogs would have been socialised properly at the beginning. Aggression towards people, particularly small dogs with men, aggression towards other dogs, small dogs and big dogs. We've only just got to look at the news a couple of days ago with the little Pomeranian where probably neither of those dogs have been socialised. So... the end results can be quite devastating for both owners. Scared of all sorts of things. Scared of cars, scared of high-vis jackets, scared of horses. The list just goes on and on. Scared of fireworks. The list goes on and on and on, Roman. It really does. Yeah.
You talk about the first 8 months. Why the first 8 months? Why are they so important?
So probably the first 8 months. For me, if you were to socialise and train your dog in the first 8 months, then you've set those foundations in place, and that's the core thing. If we were to think about our children, and I jump to primary school teaching here, we teach maths. I used to be a maths teacher, so we teach maths in a way where we repeat the same thing over and over and over again in that first couple of years. Well, in the dog world, that 8 months is effectively the first primary years of the school. So we teach the foundations, then we teach them again, then we teach them again, and then they're really embedded in the dog's sort of psyche, if you want to call it that. Yeah, and then when that dog approaches something new, they've got a lot of information to fall back on, and then they can sort of rationalise it and say, oh, that's a bit like so-and-so, and therefore I don't have to get scared all the time.
Yeah, okay.
But what people do is they do this first 6 weeks of puppy preschool and they don't do anything after that.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't embed enough, yeah.
No, that's right. And look, you and I have been speaking about this sort of stuff for a long time now. It comes down to time, and that's what I was saying at the start of the segment is don't buy someone a dog if they don't want one. It's a cute little thing to buy, but it's not something you stick in a cupboard and forget about. You got to have the time to put in, don't you?
You have, and I think what you have to think about is just exactly the same as a child. And probably even worse, because with a child you've got a few years, haven't they? Because they develop over a lot longer. Whereas puppies, the whole of that up to 14, I think they reckon that a 1-year-old puppy, a 1-year-old dog is about a 14-year-old child. So you've got that whole 14 years condensed into 1 year, which is crazy, the amount of stuff you would need to do to make that kid resilient and deal with the world, basically.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. All right, we've got texts coming in. I'll come to those soon, but calls are really good too. You can have a decent conversation with Darren Rowe from Mindfulness for Dogs here until about past on 0800 844 747. So, for a nervous type puppy, let's just say, I don't know what breed, you'll know what breeds are more nervous than others. How do you teach them to play with other puppies? How do you encourage that?
Yeah, so one of the things that you've really got to be careful at, and I'd encourage people when they go to puppy preschools to look at how those dogs interact. So if your trainer there just lets them all play completely and doesn't stop them regularly and doesn't narrate what's going on, then that's probably someone who doesn't really understand puppy preschools. So when puppies play, or when we have a young puppy, we've got to give them experiences. And I think what some people forget is we've got to give them positive experiences. And that means they don't get scared. So there's a whole biochemistry I could go into if we had about 12 hours. But basically, we're trying to teach the dogs to deal with good stress so that they don't have to deal with bad stress. And therefore, their tolerance for stress is much better as they get older. So letting a little tiny, say, schnauzer puppy run around and then get mobbed and jumped on and mauled by say like a big Dalmatian puppy, isn't going to let the schnauzer build that resilience and build that stress tolerance level up. So that's when the trainer needs to be separating those dogs, not to say that they can't play together, but just needs to be separating them, let them calm down, then play again.
Okay. You talk about how puppies interpret signals from other breeds and how they communicate. Is that something that's naturally instilled in a breed, or that can be encouraged with puppy preschools?
Well, I've always gone down the lines that when puppies are playing, they're actually learning how to fight. It's what they're doing, really, isn't it? Some people would argue with that, but I think they're actually learning how to fight, but they're actually learning how to de-escalate all those aggression things that are coming out, because puppies don't have any control emotionally, do they, at that age? And they're learning all those little signals so that they never really have to fight when they get older. The ones that don't learn how to play when they're puppies, they're the ones that don't have that emotional control, don't know the signals, and then it ends up escalating into a fight later. So different breeds, same kind of thing as people, isn't it? Different people have different sort of mannerisms. So I know that some people in Europe, the social space is way closer to other countries. English people are very standoffish, and Italian people are very much closer. So that also happens with dogs. So some breeds, like your bull breeds, will come straight into your face, and that's what they do. Whereas your Irish setters, for example, like I've got, oh my gosh, if you're 100 metres away from them, that's way too close at the beginning.
Yeah.
So puppies have got to get used to that when they're young and not get intimidated by it. So we don't separate our small dogs from our big dogs when we do puppy preschools. We moderate it and we're totally in control of the whole area, but we want those little dogs to realise that if a big dog comes charging up, it doesn't mean it's scary, it just means it's another big dog.
Brilliant.
And they can manage that, I think it's really important.
It is important. It's so important to get it right from the start, and you can get the best advice right now for free on 0800 844 747. 9:15 with Darren Rowe from Mindfulness for Dogs. Back with your call in just a moment. Ripping into it with animal behaviour, particularly dogs, with Darren Rowe from Mindfulness for Dogs on 0800 844 747. By the way, reminding you the cricket comes to you live and free from Seddon Park at about 11:15, and in Hamilton at the moment is Darren Rowe. And Dave joins us this morning. G'day, Dave.
Good morning, Dave.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Interesting problem.
Okay.
Got an interesting problem for your friend there. I got a dog from a rescue shelter, and I've had quite a lot of dogs, and I'm pretty all right at training them. I've never had a bad dog, but with this dog, she seems to be good with socialising and everything, but I'm guessing the previous owner was a white woman, and for some reason she doesn't like white women.
Ooh.
She goes nuts, and I cannot get her to stop. And I don't know whether she beat her or what, but anything else, dogs, people, fine. Kids, adults, fine. But a normal white woman, man.
Yeah. That's actually quite a lot more common than you realise. But not as many white women. More normally, sort of big, tall men. To be honest, of any nationality, I guess. But how old is your dog?
My dog's it's coming on 2 now. We got it when it was just over, not quite 1.
Okay.
And it was very timid and sheltered. It took us a long time to get her to come round.
Yeah, so I think you're probably on the money. There's probably something that's happened there. It's not necessarily if a dog's been beaten or anything like that. It might just be that the woman was quite intimidating to the dog, and overbearing, and that can sometimes be like the best way is the thing called. I would invest a dog trainer. No, I certainly wouldn't try this myself. But the thing that you can do is like counter conditioning, where you're reconditioning the dog to like the thing that it's scared of, but it's quite a technical thing to do, and you really do need the guidance of a behaviourist or a dog trainer to help you with that because of safety as well. One thing I would do now, because you've got the possibilities of a bite with that person, is I would do some muzzle training on your dog. Not because I think the dog needs a muzzle, but because that keeps it safe. We do muzzle training with all our dogs just in case we've got that situation. But yeah, that's a tough one, really, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
The thing is that if it when you've got the trainer coming in, if they do it to one person, that's not going to solve the problem. That has to be generalised out to lots and lots and lots of different people, and it can take considerable amount of time for that dog to actually get the message that they like that sort of white female. The other thing is, I guess that it's all about trust for you as well. You need to build your trust that your dog's going to actually behave in the right way, because that can take even longer.
Yeah, and maybe go back to the person who had it, Dave, and do some muzzle training on her. She sounds nasty. All right, 0800 844 747 to have a chat with Darren Rowe from Mindfulness for Dogs. Nicole joins us now. G'day, Nicole.
Hiya, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Morning, Nicole.
Just ringing up regarding a puppy I have. It is a Foxy Cross. It's about 8 months old, and it has the old excitable/submissive peeing issue. Just wondering, I've done a few things to try and stop it. Will he eventually grow out of it, or is this something we need to keep working on?
Yeah, is that when you come home or when you meet him?
It is all the time. So if we come home, we've done the whole, ignore him, be calm, make sure he's sitting and he's, okay. And it will take a good 5 minutes before he stops getting everywhere.
Really?
And then same with strangers or just anything that's exciting. Or if someone stands up too quickly, he finds it, goes into so everything. He's well socialised. So. Yeah, well, the word socialising is interesting. Most people assume it's socialising with dogs, but actually socialising with people and things is actually more important. Yeah, we've got a huge family, so he is well socialised. We're on a farm, so he's got horses and all sorts of things.
Yeah. Sounds like he's got the idyllic life apart from that. I would probably do a couple of things. I would first of all get it checked with a vet, just to make sure there's no medical sort of issue there that's going on. Also, when dogs get really excited, if you think about it, if that pelvic floor muscle is not strong enough, then that's why they pee. So you can do some, this sounds strange, you can do dog yoga. If you look it up, some awesome things you can do where they go on wobble boards and stuff like that. And you can teach them to build that muscle up. It might be worth doing that one. The other thing is I would be thinking, if you've got lots of people that are very tall, I would be interacting with the dog on the floor or coming down to my knees, because that whole difference in height is quite intimidating for dogs, and that can sometimes get them scared, and then they can lose bladder control there. And that's quite common with little dogs.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, the pelvic floor thing's amazing. We'll definitely give that a go.
Yeah. There's some. Just have a little search for on the internet. There's some great people out there.
Yeah, good idea. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks for the call. Failing that, maybe get a leg extension for the dog or something. I don't know. 0800
stilts.
Well, yes, stilts. 0800 844 747. That's the number to call. Susan's on the line. G'day, Susan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I have a little problem. Well, actually, it's a big problem. I have 2 Afghan hounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one's 10 and one's 9.
Yep.
They're both champions, so they're used to being to a show ring.
Right.
But of course, they're not being shown now because of their age.
Yeah.
And my bitch has virtually become uncontrollable.
Okay. Well, good morning, first of all, but and so lovely to have someone phoning with an Afghan. Do you know, I saw an Afghan in a little talk I did recently, and that's probably the first Afghan I've seen in New Zealand. Just don't see them very often. So, are you still breeding?
Oh,
are you still breeding? Yeah, are you still breeding? Or
No, unfortunately, my bitch won't do that either.
that's a shame. So when you say she goes crazy, beautiful dogs. What's she actually doing? What kind of behaviours?
Okay, if I take her for a walk, we don't like cats and we don't like other dogs. We're quite happy with people, but not with other animals.
Which is quite bizarre considering she would have been in the showing, I guess. Because I thought she would have been pretty socialised to other dogs. Has anything happened to her in the last sort of like year, 2 years with other dogs?
Only a general anaesthetic.
Do you know, I had a recent client that had a dog that was neutered obviously under anaesthetic, and then came out of that, and his behaviour's been absolutely appalling afterwards. So whether there's some sort of thing that's going on there, that's quite possible. Maybe a vet would be a better one to speak to. I'm sure they would say it wouldn't be, but there must be some sort of changes in there. That's the only biggest thing, isn't it? I guess it's a tough one without seeing the dogs, because I know Afghans they can be quite sort of predator prey wise, can't they? So they can be quite scary because they're hunters, aren't they? If I'm right, is that right?
Oh, they were hunters.
King's hunters, weren't they? Yeah.
These guys went to puppy school, as I say, they've been through the ring, so they're not scared of strange people. No.
So one thing I would do actually is I'd jump to using a harness rather than on the collar, because that can sometimes.
Them in a harness.
Okay, wow, sounds like you're doing everything. Whereabouts are you? Are you in the country?
Dunedin.
In Dunedin, that's a shame. I would probably again I'm defaulting to looking at a trainer, because I think it's a lot more complex the situation, because they've been socialised, they're used to other dogs. There's obviously something that's happened there that needs to be unpicked, I would say.
Yeah, interesting.
Quite happy to take us offline and give me a call, and we can have a longer chat about it if you want.
Susan, stick around. We'll give out the contact details in just a few minutes here for Darren Rowe from Mindfulness for Dogs. Do you know what? I haven't seen an Afghan dog since, I don't know, 1970 something. Wow.
No, that's right. Yeah, I did a little talk with a little pop-up shop, the Fur Love, and someone walked in with this great big Afghan. It was like, oh my God, everyone just melted. They are just stunning. If you don't know what they look like, look them up online. They're stunning dogs.
They are beautiful. Is it fair to say they're kind of like an Irish setter, or not really?
I think I would be doing a disservice to all the breeders out there if I said yes. But shall we say they're similar size and have very long coats?
Beautiful long hair. So I'm kind of guessing here. Do they come from the Middle East traditionally?
Do you know, I'm not actually sure. I'd have to, I don't want to say something wrong there.
No, neither do I. All right, let's get into the texts here. 3920 if you'd like to send a text through. 0800 844 747 if you'd like to call Darren Rowe. Help, this one starts with desperation here. I've got 2 3-year-old border collies. They have a lot of physical and mental stimulation, but they're seldom left alone. If I do have to leave them on the deck for a couple of hours, the neighbours say they bark incessantly. I've left bones, many kongs, which is that toy, treat balls, ice cream containers filled with ice and treats. Help me, please, please, please help.
Wow. That's a tough one, isn't it? 3 years old and still got separation anxiety with their owner. I'm gonna say take them to a doggy daycare. Give them another outlet during the day. That would be a good start. At least it will give your neighbours a break. The last thing you want is a council complaining. Lots of separation from them. It sounds like they may be even siblings if they're both 3 years old, so probably separating. The barking may well be just them playing really intensely. It might not actually be barking at people. So Twinkle and Star now, they're 9 months old, and when they run around, you'd think they're killing each other. They're like playing like really hard, barking their heads off. So we're having to separate them now. When they go to daycare, one goes into one side and one goes into the other side. It's quite funny just to get that separation. So it might be worth looking at that one.
Darren, just on that, if you are looking at buying a couple of dogs for Christmas, would you buy 2 puppies the same age at the same time, or is that just crazy?
Generally speaking, I would say no. If you've got a really good dog trainer at hand, then it's an option that you can have because you've got that guidance. But for the normal person, I would say don't even go there. Particularly some breeds, you just don't want siblings together. But then saying that, we always have siblings. So I'm losing my voice a little bit. We always have siblings when we buy puppies, just because for me the the positives that you get from the siblings outweigh the negatives.
Yeah, okay.
You just need to make sure you train them together.
And can I just point out that you are an expert? Most of us aren't, so there you go. Now, this text is quite interesting. It talks about an obsessive-compulsive disorder in a dog. I think I broke my dog as a puppy by playing with a laser pointer. She loved it.
Oh, God, yeah.
She loved it, and she still loves it, but now she loves anything shiny. And the pointer, as a pup, was on a keychain. Now, if she hears a keychain, she goes nuts, basically, looking for a laser pointer for 20 minutes or more.
It's not a spaniel, is it?
It doesn't say, no.
Or if it's a border collie, we've got real problems. Hey, that is a definite canine behaviourist. You need to get them in really quickly. And please, anybody out there with a puppy, it's not cute, it's not fun. You're just going to cause so much problems with your dog if you do those kind of things. Even the I've seen people with their watches catching the sunlight, thinking it's great for the dogs, sparkling around. Please don't do it. Dogs will just freak out.
Oh, really?
And then you've got a problem I've seen it too many times. You've got a problem for life, and as a canine behaviourist, it's a really hard one to deal with and to solve.
Okay. All right. Here's a tricky one. This is regarding a rather large dog, which, of course, was used back in the gladiatorial times, a Napoleon Mastiff. Is it Neapolitan or Napoleon?
They normally call it Neo-Mastiff. So
Neo-Mastiff. All right.
Yeah.
This one's 3 years old. He's a rescue dog, and we've just had him for a short time. My question is regarding pet roll and biscuits.
Okay.
They give him basically diarrhea is what it's saying. He loves cooked chicken and red meat, but it's very expensive, and he's 60 kilos plus. Now, Maria's basically asking if she should shy away from the pet roll and biscuits, I guess.
So again, I'm not a nutritionist, and there's better qualified people from that. But the way I look at dog food is, if you give your dog food and it gives them diarrhea, it's not good for them.
Okay.
So golden rule is, if it goes in and it comes out nicely, then it's really good for them. If it comes out in diarrhea, then it's definitely not good for the dog.
Okay, going back to the obsessive-compulsive disorder, the texter has come back to say it's a Hunterway cross with a Smithfield.
Okay. Yeah, any of those kind of herding dogs, that's why I was curious. Please, wherever you are, get a canine behaviourist in to help you.
All right.
And ask them if they've done this sort of thing before.
Yeah. Now, look, I know there are people who listen, and they listen intently because they're too shy to call and they don't want to text. They just get a bit nervous, but they would love to get in touch with you to get things back on track, Darren. So how do they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on social media. Just search for Mindfulness for Dogs. Remember, it's that number 4. Or you can go to my website, mindfulnessfordogs.com, and I'll be there. Check out the blog.
Brilliant. And we love the work you do. You're helping sort out New Zealand's dogs, one dog at a time. So thank you, Darren. So. Yeah.
Thank you.
All the very best. Darren Rowe from Mindfulness for Dogs here on the Sunday Cafe.
You've been listening to Darren Rowe on The Mindful Dog, giving our canine friends a voice throughout the world. To find out more about what we do, visit our website at www.mindfulnessfordogs.com.